No question as to who the crowd is here to see.
Have you ever seen a whole corner as bedecked in perfectly matching outfits as those guys?
Nice.
In entertainment, they call it a moneyed look, right? And that's what they have.
It's true. Dressing room, want to repeat, we're working on voice commands. Good luck.
So De La Hoya and Alexander, and the fashion statement now made. Paris Alexander looking the part of the confident fighter.
Very, very articulate, intelligent guy who understands what he needs to do. He happens to be a behavioral therapist for senior citizens when he's not boxing. He loves boxing and says, I'm not going to just fall down for this guy. And if he comes after me quickly, he said, I will hit him with something. We'll see.
So we'll see. He's not a guy, as you can tell by his record, who's apt to knock you out. Only 3 knockouts in his 15 wins.
He's not a huge puncher. What he does have is durability, and they'd like to see a little bit of that, I guess.
And he's a pest. And I mean that in a complimentary way.
He made it difficult for Pena to hit him. You heard one of my keys to victory, and that is hold.
He did that. First he closed his eyes, and then he held.
The other way around would be better.
De La Hoya all business, just as he was as an amateur.
Yeah, the difference here, though, is he understands now that he can really go after guys. As an amateur, he felt he almost had to box. Also, he didn't want to burn out as an amateur. He saw what happened to guys like Clint Jackson in the old days and other boxers. They literally burnt out in their amateur career. He didn't want that to happen. And you know what? He throws every single punch as if it's a knockout punch. He didn't used to do that. You know what he reminds me of in a certain way? And I guess I should say Jeremy Williams reminds me of him. Jeremy Williams, who became a pro and has done the exact same thing as De La Hoya. As an amateur, although certainly wasn't on the level of De La Hoya, he wasn't the slugger that he has become as a pro.
Double left hand. And down goes Alexander. Boy, that was pretty.
It keeps happening. He keeps hitting guys, these journeymen who you would expect at least to get through 2 or 3 of those punches, and they don't do it.
I don't think Alexander's really hurt by it, but he made it look all too easy. And we mentioned earlier, they really do have him headed on a very fast track. They want him fighting main events very quickly. Incidentally, I should point out, he's the youngest main event fighter that we have ever had here on Top Rank Boxing. The oldest, of course, is difference of 23 years.
He is throwing some really hellacious shots here. Paris Alexander might make some history, though. He might get to the 2nd round here. No one's been able to do with De La Hoya yet.
De La Hoya would kind of like that too, somewhere inside him. I think he'd like to put a little bit of work in. Digging that left hand, that is a tough punch. Another pretty good left hand at the belt. Not much to correct Oscar De La Hoya on in that round.
Here's where Paris Alexander went down. Well, that jab actually kind of got him, and there's a left hand. Not too much, really. It almost was more of a slip, and yet Alexander treated himself like it was a knockdown. He had been, that right hand. I think the right hand might have been the one that actually stunned him.
Yeah, that's what I think, too. Actually, I thought it started with a double left hand, but in fact, it was the right hand.
Make sure you take your time and stick your foot in there first. Okay? Wait for that jab.
Robert Alcazar, the trainer of Oscar De La Hoya. 39 of the 53 punches that De La Hoya threw last round were power shots. This gives you an indication that he is concentrating on throwing big shots to get his man out of it.
Starts this round with 3 jabs, though.
And of course, he has a tremendous jab. Watching him over in Barcelona at the Olympics, his jab was a staple. He used it to carve out several decision wins.
What he does show is a not only patience for a guy who is an amateur fighter, but he's right on balance. Doesn't throw bad punches.
No, and you know, I almost hate myself for saying this, but you really have to look back to Sugar Ray Leonard to see a guy who this early in his career was fighting as a main eventer and showing you these kind of skills. Because few boxers, except a guy that wins the gold medal and is highly marketable, will be in main events on television this quickly.
They want to move him up to 10 rounds real quickly. In fact, they're talking about down goes Alexander again from left hand. Boy, he is so strong.
And I'm sure Paris, who, as I said, just didn't think this was going to happen to him, is sitting here thinking, man, this guy's stronger than I thought.
Well, if you watch De La Hoya as an amateur, you would think that.
Yeah, they're talking about having De La Hoya fight Jeff Mayweather in March in a 10-round. Jeff Mayweather's been fighting 10-round main events with pretty good fighters for a couple of years. He's going to may have to fight Roger Mayweather by April.
That's true.
It's a couple of weight divisions up.
Right hand drops Alexander again.
You know, the crowd's booing. You know what's interesting? That was a big right hand on the temple. It just doesn't look like these are the punches that would knock somebody down.
Stop the fight. And De La Hoya has made it 3-0. And the crowd doesn't really agree with the stoppage, I don't think. But I think it only could have gotten uglier, to tell you the truth.
I don't know if Paris Alexander would have done anything more at that point. I mean, they could have let it go, I guess, one more knockdown. But he had been knocked down 2 or 3 times, wasn't showing any offense. And I just have to wonder if he would have been effective at that point afterwards.
I agree with that.
I don't think that's in any way any kind of protection for De La Hoya or anything of that nature. Here's the last knockdown. Let's see. A good left hook.
Oh,
well, no, you know what? It didn't look like it landed very well.
Sure didn't.
Well, but guess what? If Paris Alexander didn't want the fight to be stopped, he shouldn't have gone down from it. But, you know, you can make the case, I guess, based upon the way that knockdown happened, that maybe they could have let it go down a little longer.
Kick that right up, right up.
Yeah, that was, he was knocked down actually by a forearm.
Yeah. He had been hit with a pretty good left hook before that. So when you look at it in replay, you realize it wasn't a clear shot.
All right, let's go to Michael Buffer and get the official time and such.
Ladies and gentlemen, referee Chuck Hassett calls a halt to this bout. The official time, 1 minute, 52 seconds of round number 2. The winner by TKO, the pride of East LA, the Golden Boy, Oscar De